The Cortisol-Muscle Trap. Why stress is melting your progress. The Cortisol-Muscle Trap. The hook. The biochemical sabotage you are training with relentless intensity. Your nutrition is disciplined to the gram, and yet your body composition is moving in the wrong direction. You are losing contractile muscle density, accumulating visceral fat, specifically around the midsection, and your recovery windows are lengthening into days rather than hours. This is not a lack of willpower. It is biochemical sabotage. You have fallen into the cortisol muscle trap. In high-performance environments, it's the very drive that makes you successful in your career. The constant elevation of the sympathetic nervous systems, the silent killer of your physical baseline. Today, we decode the catabolic mechanism of chronic stress and provide the surgical protocols to shield your muscle mass from hormonal erosion. Section 1. The catabolic switch, mTOR versus proteolysis. To understand the trap, we must look at the mammalian target of rapamycin, mTOR. mTOR is the master regulator of protein synthesis. It is the build command for your cells. However, mTOR has a biological antagonist, cortisol. Cortisol is a glucocorticoid produced by the adrenal cortex. In acute bursts, the 30-minute workout, it is essential for mobilizing energy. In chronic elevation, it is a metabolic wrecking ball. When cortisol is persistently high, it activates the ubiquitin proteasome pathway up. This is a targeted destruction system where your body tags muscle proteins for degradation. Furthermore, cortisol triggers the expression of myostatin protein that acts as a hard ceiling on muscle growth. High cortisol levels don't just stop you from growing. They actively signal your body to dismantle existing muscle fibers to convert them into glucose through gluconeogenesis. You are quite literally eating your own expensive muscle tissue to fuel a psychological stress response that has no physical outlet. This is the definition of biological inefficiency. Section 2. The TC ratio and progenitor allocation. The most critical biomarker for your physical state is the TC ratio, or the testosterone to cortisol ratio. This is the ultimate snapshot of your anabolic versus catabolic balance. Clinical data confirms that a drop of 30% or more in this ratio is the single most accurate predictor of allostatic overload and muscle wasting. The conflict begins at the source. Cholesterol, testosterone, and cortisol share the same raw material. In a high-stress state, your body engages in a resource hijack. It prioritizes the production of cortisol survival over testosterone reproduction and repair. This is an evolutionary survival mechanism. Your body does not prioritize building a larger chest if it perceives a constant threat to the system. As your testosterone drops, your nitrogen retention fails. Without a positive nitrogen balance, your muscles cannot remain in an anabolic state. For the professional, this results in the skinny fat phenotypal, paradoxical state of thin limbs combined with high visceral adiposity. Visceral fat is not just storage. It is an active endocrine organ that secretes inflammatory cytokines IL-6, TNF-alpha, which further drive up cortisol, creating a self-reinforcing loop of decay. Section 3. The growth hormone suppression and collagen decay. The damage extends to the growth hormone axis. Chronic cortisol elevation increases hypothalamic somatostatin, a hormone whose primary function is to block the release of growth hormone from the pituitary gland. Without GH, your systemic repair mechanisms stall. This is why high-stress individuals experience chronic joint pain and tendinitis, striatal matrix, and collagen fibers. You aren't just losing muscle, you are losing the structural integrity of your entire biological frame. Section 4. The Cortisol Mastery Protocol, Surgical Intervention. To break the trap, you cannot simply relax. You must implement a hormonal counter-strategy. You have divided the recovery into 3 tactical tiers. Tier 1, HPA, axis modulation. You must silence the alarm signal at the source. The most researched tool for this is ashwagandha, KSM-66. Clinical trials show that 600 milligrams daily can reduce serum cortisol by up to 32% by sensitizing GABAergic receptors in the brain. So protect your muscle during the workout itself. Utilize phosphatidylserine. This phospholipid has the unique ability to blunt the ACTH adrenocorticotropic hormone response to physical stress. A dose of 400 to 800 milligrams taken 30 minutes before training prevents the post-workout cortisol spike from entering the danger zone, extending your anabolic window. Tier 2. Circadian re-anchoring. Cortisol follows a circadian rhythm. It should peak 30 minutes after waking. Cortisol awakening response and reach its nadir at midnight. Most high performers have a flat or inverted curve. Protocol: use the physiological side double inhale, long exhale for 5 minutes at 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. This clears adrenaline and prevents cortisol carryover into your sleep window, ensuring the lymphatic system can activate. Tier 3. Insulinergic, breaking carb backloading. While we prioritize glucose stability, strategic spike of complex carbohydrates in your final meal is a powerful catabolic break. Insulin is the direct antagonist to cortisol. By triggering a controlled insulin release in the evening, you signal the adrenals to cease cortisol production, while simultaneously increasing the uptake of tryptophan to facilitate melatonin synthesis. This protects your muscle mass while you sleep by forcing the body out of emergency mode. Section 5. Training duration in the TC crossover. Finally, we must adjust the workload architecture. After 60 to 75 minutes of intense resistance training, the TC ratio begins to collapse. If your sessions are lasting 2 hours under high life stress, you are performing a chemical castration on yourself. The rule: limit high-intensity sessions to 45 to 50 minutes of focused work. Quality of contraction is more anabolic than the quantity of duration. Conclusion: reclaiming the baseline. The cortisol muscle trap is the reason why many dedicated individuals fail to see the results their effort deserves. You cannot out-train a hormonal environment that is programmed for self-destruction. By implementing the KSM66 protocol, mastering your TC ratio, and utilizing strategic carbohydrate timing, you reclaim control over your metabolic engine. However, controlling cortisol is only half the battle. If your cellular energy centers, your mitochondria, are aging, your body will still struggle to utilize the nutrients you provide. In our next session, we will decode the mitochondrial engine and how to use thermal stress to rewrite your cellular age. Leave a comment with the word anabolic if you're ready to stop the erosion and start the reconstruction. The code is biological. The mastery is yours.